That's what I heard.
Why is that?
They can pay 10%. They take the cat like more than they take the chicken.
Oh, Borough. Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
You swear everything.
Oh, yeah, no, I think it's good. I mean,
Yeah,
I
it
think
was perfect.
it's
Yeah.
like, that's being transparent, so that's good.
Yeah,
That's what
everything's,
everybody wants.
Then you.
yeah, that's it. Good evening.
Good evening, how you doing?
I'm good.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, how are you? Did you contact Stevie?
No, I didn't have a chance to. Today was my last in the office. I was catching up on everything there. Did you?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I think mine's just a forgotten password.
Well,
But you know, there's no place on cover to say like reset my password. I was
there
looking
was
for
an
that.
email from him about how to reset it,
Oh, there was? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
but that's not what the problem is with
Okay.
mine.
Yeah,
because
you
I
might
know-
have a separate issue.
I know what my password is. Because it makes complete sense to me when I looked at it.
Thank you for sharing that.
Oh,
Sorry
yeah.
about it. Just died. Friends down there. We were down there.
How you doing? Hi, I'm Jack. I'm Joe. Boy, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. You get what you get.
Well, here's, because budgets there.
You know what? Because it's the internal meeting. Rubber starts to
I understand.
Where's your water pistol?
And they usually, I think they usually meet on Tuesday nights. So. I don't have to be around. Don,
Oh,
somebody called me and told me about it.
yeah, that's an error. My fault. You know, it is, I did the Google Calendar and I just set it for the second and fourth Wednesday of every month. And then I didn't go back and then adjust the one offers like tonight is.
I don't know why they're talking tonight about setting up dates for next year. You got enough to do tonight.
I know, right? Yeah, I thought we did, I thought we did. Just. I thought we did like a yay or nay or something. No?
Because I got a couple of text messages when I got home and started with WTF.
Nobody told me to take that, I still publish it, nobody told me to take it down.
There's not a pushing out.
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah.
Two, I'm here, that was the other night.
Yeah.
So. I simply kept my mouth shut because I didn't saw it, but
Mhm.
I didn't know.
Right here now. Where you wanna go?
Yeah.
Well, I'll wait for Shelley.
Good evening.
Okay, I didn't come on.
No.
War stops.
He came earlier. So we had a second or something.
But you told him no, right?
Yeah.
What about no? We'll text her real quick. What we would necessarily need. No.
And I'll give you other stuff.
There you go.
But we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
So you understand.
yeah.
I want to meet him.
Good evening, Mrs. Roberts.
I'm gonna just use I passed that text. I just. So yeah, I don't know where Mr. Stubbs is, but if we should, we should. You know, might as well get, yeah. Yeah. Want to get on? Yeah. Okay. Call to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag
The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Borough manager, I ask that you do a roll call, please.
Council Vice President Bernice Clark Dickerson,
Present.
Council President Jonathan Miller,
Present.
Councilor Douglas Iger,
Here.
Councilor Beth Ann Johnson,
Here.
Councilor Michelle Miller,
Here.
Councilor Michelle Roberts,
Present.
Councilor Walter Stubbs, Mayor Amanda Hanna.
Present.
Okay, we do not have any announcements this evening, presentations. We'll move on to the public comment. Excuse my voice, I'm a little under the weather. Mr. Lee?
Good evening. My name is Lee, 123 West Sylvan Avenue, Morton, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, United States of America. This comment I have is for Councilor Vice President Dickerson. I know you're going to be discussing the preliminary budget, but would you announce what the vote was regarding the adoption of the preliminary budget at last Thursday's meeting, November 21 to 2024. Due to circumstances beyond my control, I was not able to be here. So I would like to know how the vote went. Thank you very much.
The vote for ratifying will occur tonight.
Mr. Hefner?
Bill Hefner, 571 South Old Middletown Road, Media, PA. I have multiple buildings and businesses here in Morton. A couple of simple questions. I noticed on the budget, the parks is only $1,000 on the allocation. It doesn't seem to make sense since there's a lot of work to be done on the park, like the swings and keeping the properties out. And the other thing is I see the real estate delinquent tax allocation number is now 97,600. But is there a allocation or something on the budget for all the Portnoy stuff, all the past due sewer and trash bills? Is there a number for that yet? Because I know that hasn't really been decided most of the year, and it was talked about in the prior council. And I just was wondering specifically where the Portnoy is, and also why the budget for the parks is so low.
Anything else?
Pardon?
You have anything else?
No, there's too many things. I sent you guys a whole list
Yeah,
and I
yeah, we have.
wasn't gonna waste your time on that. There are just things for you guys to consider what I saw, even though I wasn't privy to a lot of the budget stuff. This is just some of my analysis. It's a good educated guess. So I was just curious about the parks and the Portnoy stuff.
Okay. As the Portnoy stuff, the letters are going out and everything now. And Portnoy's starting to get his stuff information. But that's it. That's what we can tell you.
But it's not gonna be listed as an income item on the
Not
on the
yet.
budget,
No,
so we don't know what the Portnoy number is yet.
no.
And then why is the parks number just $1,000?
At this time, because we wanted to come in on a, balanced budget, but as we can go back and look at it as we get going and midstream. That's what we started with that because we still had funding in the budget for parks and recreation. That was not spent. We wanted to make sure that was spent and then go back and look at everything.
All right, I was just curious. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Still on?
Cecilia Todd, 110 Althea Lane in Morton, Pennsylvania. I'm here tonight, not as a member of the fire department, but I am here as a resident. My comment pertains to the preliminary budget, and I just wanted to make the following comments. I know I'm not going to make 3 minutes. I'll start, and then at the comments at the end, I'd like you to consider what my thoughts are. I've been a resident of Morton Borough for 61 years out of my 68 years of life. I was raised here with my brothers and sisters, and I raised my family here. I hope that my next statements are heard and understood and generate reverse decisions by each member of council tonight when it comes to voting for the preliminary 2025 Morton budget proposed to be discussed tonight, and with a deduction of funds to the fire department. The fire company presented a detailed substantiated budget for 2025 to the finance committee of the borough earlier this year, as did the police department. I was at this budget meeting along with many of my other representatives of the 100% volunteer Morton Rutledge Fire Company. No one sitting on the other side of the table at this meeting asked the fire company officers any questions about what they proposed. No one made a comment that what was presented was unreasonable, unrealistic, or unattainable. And it wasn't until last night that we learned that I learned that there was a budget cut to the Morton Rutledge Fire Company budget. Council, please realize that the building that houses the fire company apparatus and the fire company equipment is owned by the borough. The building is owned by the borough, and the fire company is only obligated to perform routine maintenance. The fire company has gone above and beyond to take its responsibility seriously for years, and we have applied for and obtained grants to make necessary major repairs to allow the fire company to keep running effectively and efficiently. Please step up and do the least. Honor the request of the fire department. A portion of my tax dollars are allocated to the Morton Rutledge Fire Company, as are every household and business. Make sure this money goes to the fire company. Each council member, please sharpen your pencils. The residents of Morton Borough over the last 5 years have witnessed $280,000 in COVID money disappearing into thin air with no accountability. It witnessed $19,000 in legal fees to defend a council member when she insisted on kissing one of our police officers more than once after being told it was sexually inappropriate. The Borough Witness Council spent $80,000 to accuse, investigate, and arbitrate the dismissal of a borough police officer. I'll finish later.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to clarify that the firehouse was not cut in their funding. We upped it to 50,000. We cut your capital fund at this point in time down to 15,000, looking at everything that's going with the budget. We'll be looking at it again and looking as the funds come in with the increase with sewer. And once that amount is determined, we'll be able, hopefully be able to bring it back up.
Thank you.
All right. I hope everybody heard me. Oh, can I also say, we have been asking, I was not at the safety meeting, that's where the meeting was. That's when I had my stroke and I was not able to be in attendance to ask the questions that needed to be asked. But we are still asking the fire company to provide the documentation that I need over your funding, what you spend it on month by month. I've been asking for that for the whole year. I brought copies if somebody wants a copy, what we got. What I worked out with you guys last year when I came on. So you can get us last year's information. I have the Excel sheet and we can go back. Christy has the information. Holston that knows how, because she has the whole Excel sheet. But we can make sure that you sit down with me and we'll go back and get what we need for you.
Counselor, I have no authority to speak on behalf of the fire company, and I hope that you all understand that. I am an active
Yes.
administrative member.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I fundraise for the fire department. You hear me every meeting talk about our fundraising.
Yeah.
I'm sure that Chief Holstein and President Hayes will discuss that requirement, as I believe they may have a different understanding. So
Yeah,
that-
I talked with, President Hayes and Mr. Holstein, Chief Holstein already knows, because I was
Okay,
sat
thank
down with him and his wife before. Thank you.
Can I just ask a question, Councilwoman Dickerson? You said that you would review it and that the funds would come from the sewer? I just want to
Trash
verify.
of the, once we, calculate the fees with the increase and everything, we're hoping that the revenues will come in with that. That we'll be able to give back the, for the capital fund. This is capital funding. It's not the firehouse.
Not the
fund.
firehouse.
They have the funding. We have that in the budget.
That
Thank
capital
you.
fund is part of our budget.
Okay, so
Yeah, but
Donald
that's,
Holstein, Chief Morton Rutledge Fire Company.
I'm sorry, say that. Oh, you're telling.
he's, yeah, good.
Mrs. Dickerson,
Yes.
when we sat down at the end of the beginning of this year to discuss the budget and why we were being held back until the paperwork was provided, we provided last year's 2023's budget amount, the monies that we spent for Morton Borough.
Mhm.
We will do it annually. We never, ever agreed to monthly.
Well, I'm sorry.
And we
I
never
dis-
received a form that we're supposed to fill out.
I disagree with you. You have it. Your wife has the
We
form.
will-
I did the Excel
Let me
sheet.
correct that.
I
We're not going
prepared
to
it for you.
redo our form.
I didn't ask for your form. I asked for the Excel sheet
That
that
is
I
our
created
form.
for you guys, that you done. I sat down with her. I did the whole thing for her. So I'm just asking you, you have to report on the funding. That's all I'm
And-
asking for,
and
that
we
you
will
gave
do
us.
it
That we
annually.
give you.
I am not tasking another member to do another activity because right now they're working 40+ hours a week just doing the treasury, all of the administrative part of it. We're not tasking a volunteer to do that, as we do not get paid. We do not get a stipend. We get a t-shirt. Just wanted to advise you guys again that we did receive the $150,000 from Dave Deloso, Representative Dave Deloso, and Senator Jennifer Amaro. $60,000 to $70,000 of it is going towards the fire company's front apron, which is borough owned. We always go out of our way to find funding to do these repairs that technically would be the borough's repairs. Please keep that in mind. And as I said before, we do the maintenance on the trucks. We do other additional things that saves money. We're not looking to take money and not use it. As you can see, the trucks over there, that's where the capital fund that is provided to the fire company. That's where it goes. We can take the money that you provide us, invest it to make up the shortfall that happens every time. Last time it was over $130,000 of a shortfall. The trucks paid off because we're able to invest that money. As I don't think you guys are able to invest the money, except put it in a savings account. We do our due diligence. We always have. We will continue to do, but we are strongly asking that you bring that amount up to where it belongs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to iterate that the fire company does need to do a monthly report. I asked it, that's what you said. The report would be calculated over, it was easy. We gave you a Excel sheet that would do it, not an annual one. That was our request, and I sat down with you and your wife and requested, I did the whole form. That's what I'm asking. That's what's
the
needed.
form and you
Thank you
changed.
very much.
I don't know. It's not- I don't,
I would-
let's see,
Can I-
Agladen,
Can I ask
Agladen, no.
a question? When you
I'm not
say
sure who's,
required. Is the borough requiring it? Because it's not the
Yes,
law.
yes, the borough, no.
So
They have to,
that's-
they are required to, give us information on how they spent the money that the borough gives us, not the whole fire company's revenues and everything. It's the borough information. So we gave you 47,000 last year. And, I mean, in 23, that's what we broke down everything month to month. We have the information. It was done. I requested, so we got you started and requested information to be done again, starting 24. All you had to do is put your numbers in. I had month by month what was spent. That's why I helped and did it with you guys. We're asking the same thing. We wanted to make it easy for you guys, so you have it on hand, and that's it. You just put your document, what was done.
So, but, and I guess my,
And I have the Excel sheet.
I guess the point of clarification that I am asking, and Carl or Jack, you can answer this. Is the fire company required by law, whether municipality, state, whatever, to produce any of that documentation? I'm not saying if it's
Yes.
good for,
Bernice, let them.
I'm asking whether or not
Yeah,
it is required.
Is it in town code? Is it in
you
ordinance?
can,
Look, I can't speak for every statute in the state, off the cuff, but ultimately, if the borough is providing money to an organization,
Separate.
the borough is allowed to ask for documents.
But not required. They're
Well-
allowed to ask, and I know where you're going with this because we've had this conversation a million times. You can ask, they can say no, and you can say, fine, then we don't give you the money.
Mhm.
But it is not a law requirement, is what I just want clarified.
Well, I can, you know, without going out and doing an hour's worth of research or whatever, I can't say that there's no laws that require. Or, you know, but ultimately, you know, when the borough allocates money to outside organizations, it's, you know, it can condition the receipt of that money on, you know, providing paperwork.
So the borough's conditions, but not necessarily code requirement.
Not necessarily, no.
Okay.
And.
what did you have? Okay, you'll talk about it.
It's Melissa.
All right,
Melissa?
I'm not sure, yeah.
It's, well, Melissa, there's Christina.
Okay, so
There's
Melissa,
first
where's
one up
Melissa?
there.
I'm gonna go first.
Okay.
So Christina Hayes, 12 Providence Road in Morton. I'm the president of Morton Rutledge Fire Company. So two things. You said that we spoke. This is the first time I'm actually speaking
Right,
with
we
you
spoke
and
over
actually
email.
meeting you. So we never spoke before except via through email,
Right.
which I have October 1st requested all communication of you requesting monthly, whatever it is that you wanted.
Mhm.
And I said, I'd like to review it and I've yet to receive it. It's the end of November. So how do you expect a fire company to give you what you're asking for when you can't even give us what I asked for?
One of the things is when we spoke in October, shortly after I had the stroke. So I was out of commission for a while. And you do have an email stating that I sent you Christine stuff that
I got nothing
well,
except
just
an email
maybe it didn't come to the
conversation.
email. I'm sorry, but I did do that. I sent all the emails that she and I both had.
Not to
Just
cut
let
you
you
off.
know.
That was one of the emails that I sent out, that's what I was requesting. But that was the first time you and I spoke. I think before it was your wife.
And we never received a request for what she was asking for.
I have the
Not
email.
received it.
I have copies of emails.
Good.
Thank you.
I would like to see all
You'll
of
get
Yes.
them. You'll get
Yeah,
them.
we'll
Thank
definitely
you.
send them to you.
No problem.
And
And we're not.
we're not
adversarial.
trying to fight
We wanna-
against you. We're not like, that's not what we're doing here. Okay, we're really not, but we do need to do things. We do, we do, and unfortunately, the only way I do, but unfortunately, it isn't just the firehouse. Like there's a lot, and we have to make sure it's done properly going forward.
Well, going forward, you're cutting out the future.
But
You got the email I sent.
yes, yeah. That's not what we're going for, just like she said, like, we just need to get together and work on what it is that you're asking, like, that's not the case. At all. It really isn't.
Sit down and figure it out.
Absolutely, that's
So I'm
exactly
all
what
for
we're
that.
saying, yes.
But I don't want to be told we sent something, we agreed to something. that
I
we didn't.
did request that,
I know you requested it, but she's saying she requested it.
I
We agreed
requested
to
all
something.
communication, I received nothing.
you
I
did
had a
from then,
strike.
though.
Yeah, I had a.
I said to you, like, this is, and you actually said to me, you said, moving forward, it needs to be me, because we weren't even aware. Not that anybody didn't say, we didn't know, to be honest with you, we thought it was your wife.
Right, we didn't know you were.
We didn't know,
She's the treasurer. It was explained every time. She's the treasurer, not the president.
but she,
You're the treasurer.
The president.
I'm the president.
Right, he just said you're not the president.
Oh, I am the president. Christie's not the president. Christie's the
but
treasurer.
Christy was the
That's why I've
one
been working
that she was working with.
nonstop.
So that's all that is, okay?
But
It was
I
just-
requested
but-
all communication.
And with
all
that
requests.
email, when you requested that, I said, great, this is what we needed.
Right, but there was no form, no nothing.
There's no form. She gave an Excel spreadsheet that you were able to plug in the expenses based off of the money that was given. That was it. It wasn't an extra task. It was just something that I mean, surely you do document your funds
Yeah.
being spent, correct? That's all that we were asking. That's it.
It's not vanilla like that. We have to go through and divide everything up. 1/3, 2/3. It's not just plugging numbers in.
Okay.
There's additional work to it.
Was that all you had for us?
That's all I got.
Okay. I believe you're next.
Melissa Williams, 236 Hoffman Road, Morton. I am also here asking you not to cut the firefighters' budget. My husband was the firefighter that died 5 years ago and next Tuesday. And if you cut their money, like, it's gonna have to move from somewhere. I am not a firefighter. I wanted nothing to do with the fire department, but I am now on the fundraising and they're 100% volunteer. They spend their time fundraising, like, we have events and, I mean, I honestly don't think I've ever seen any of you at their events, like, supporting them. So, I mean, like, when we're raising money to, like, buy them uniforms, buy the equipment, like, you need to give them the money and support them because, like I said, you cut their butt, it's gonna have to come from somewhere else, and then, you don't need any more firefighters,
Yeah,
anything happening to them. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I do want to say, we do support the event, and I'm sure Ms. Todd
Yeah, I-
acknowledge that as
Yeah.
the chief and everything. I try to make sure I'm at as much as I can.
Been
So.
at
we
a
do
couple
support,
myself.
Do put into the fire fund as a resident. I do.
Would you know me other than today to know me though?
Yeah, I've seen like,
I live right next door. Every time they have something, I come right across the grass. So. I can't speak for anybody else, though. You're right, I can't. And I'm not, because
And believe
I'm not
me,
saying, wrong.
my family were firemen, volunteers, just Delaware County were volunteers, and we do know and take the seriousness of it. It's just some things we do need in return. Again,
So
I do.
this is the fire equipment escrow that is listed? Okay,
We talk about that one day.
well, it's listed here as fire
Yeah.
equipment escrow, and that's what I would curious to as what is that fund?
Where have you been?
Pardon? I didn't hear.
I said.
Sorry, I didn't.
You asked me that, right?
Yeah, I was at.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
No, I was at, no, no, I was at.
Okay.
What, so when that's referred to as capital fund in general, I mean, I know what capital fund is, but a fire equipment escrow as it's listed here, what is your capital fund? Very brief.
For the apparatus replacement in the state by the end of the PA, every 15 years, we're supposed to take that service. Then it's 20 because of the apparatus that we purchase and maintenance that we put on it. It's mainly for that. In some cases, we might have to take from it. For instance, if we didn't get the hose, we didn't get that grant, we're gonna have to take $82,000 to purchase it.
Okay, so
It's short further.
lack of a better way of putting it, it's almost like our police car escrow.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
So they won't have the big expense.
Okay. I think that's it. Then I can help.
Okay. So we're gonna move on to our committee reports, starting off with public facilities and infrastructure. Counselor Bethany Johnson.
Thank you. The first one would be the traffic signal update. So at the last meeting, we received, Mr. Catania was saying that we received pushback from SEPTA as they keep adding more things on for us to need to get. So, I spoke to Jack and we have reached out to the Senator Kearney and Jenna Merritt's office, and we'll be scheduling a meeting with Catania, with both of them to discuss with SEPTA, the issues that we're having, so that way we can get this immediately fixed. The sanitary sewer rehab project, there was a notice that was given out last week. That project should be complete already. And then the LSA gaming revenue, grant for Jacobs Park improvements. Can I send that over to you to get an update on that?
I can tell you it's been, Mr. Catania, sent me the information. It's
Okay.
been, sent to the state, for, as of yesterday.
Right.
We could, Jacob's grant. Yep.
Okay. And that's all I have.
No. Okay, moving on to finance and administration. Council Vice President Bernie Dickerson.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Finance and Administration report. And first I want to start off and respond to an email that was sent, but I was not included in it, but I was aware of it. And I'm going to read this off and then we're going to go into the report for the preliminary budget and everything. First, we had 2 responses to the preliminary budgets. People came in, sent emails with questions that they requested information on, and we have provided that, and our treasurer is ready to do that. But I want to say, and yet another email was sent by Mr. Borough to all council members, excluding President Miller, the mayor, borough manager, and myself, in an attempt to be somewhat sarcastic and belittle Councilwoman Johnson and mainly myself. Mr. B, thank you once again for your email. And I would like to make things clear once again to you. I, for one, was not and will never be a student of yours. But as mentioned, I did attend the majority of last year's budget meetings to observe what this present council will be obligated to work with, and observe the intent by you that was being made and displayed concerning it. When I became the chair of finance and administration, with my background and with the addition of appropriate trained professional staff, we wanted to avoid the repeat of the previous finance and administration chair's approach of what was being done and how they did it. And present a clear 2025 budget for the upcoming year with council. Mr. B, you have continued to disparage my name, and I stand as a public official. It sometimes comes with the job, and I can handle that. But let me remind you this is not my first rodeo again. I continue to stand confident, strong, tall, and can hold my head up high as a proud, hardworking Morton Borough Councilwoman. I am up for it and anything else you continue to try to throw at me undercover. I have been above board, transparent, and of sound mind, thus establishing sound procedures and processes for the borough's Department of Administration and Finance and my committee, with the mayors and most importantly, all but one council member. We have been getting the support and approval of everything that we've done. I am sure to do the work that Morton Borough residents voted me in to do. And again, I will continue to be above board and transparent. And I will let continually, again, all but one council member continues to be negatively sending out information that shouldn't be done. All right? I would like to thank the majority of members of this council and mayor for coming together and opening the doors of our borough for several opportunities for the use of these facilities here at Morton Borough for events and programs such as line dancing, exercising classes, youth and recreation activities, and adult social services programs. There was a fake rumor that was put out by one council member at our last meeting that we were not able to get SYC to come back here again for next year to rent the hall. That was untrue. As we mentioned to Mr. Hefner at that time, we were not aware of it, but we know who said it. We immediately met with the SYC. It was not a problem if they didn't want to rent with us anymore. That's no problem because we had things lined up, but that was not true. The contract is being prepared as that, and it was being prepared that night. So let's put that to rest, because that was something that was also in the other emails that came through. So we're asking again that continue on with our future, working together. I thank this council. You've been very supportive. We always let you know what's going on from day one. We're asking you to continue support. We work together because it betters the borough. Because we're all here to do a job, to meet the needs and work for what's best here. I thank you. Now, we're going to go into our preliminary budget, and the responses, like I said, 2 responses came in through email in regards to our budget. So I'm going to let Jonathan go ahead and respond. You sent to every council member. Every council member received a copy of what was sent and the questions and concerns. And we sat and we came up with all your responses. Everything was already there, but we worded out a little clearer. And I hope every council person got the email.
Do you have your copy, John?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna have you stand up here.
Yeah.
Again, for transparency, so that all of the residents can have an understanding of the questions that were asked and the answers.
I see. There was a lot of some.
And you can redirect the ones that you appropriated for council.
That you can answer everything outside. And Jack. And that's again, dealing with Mr. Hefner was the one
Yeah,
that
we gotta fix that.
Right.
Yeah, because you're not getting anything.
Were some things,
Yeah, I haven't gotten in.
we want to talk about the budget and everything and letting you know, a lot of things that were done as was not appropriate. And the people doing the budget. All right,
Okay.
so
Mhm.
we ensured that we had the right people on staff. We brought the qualified people in. With the support of this council to ensure everything was being done right in the board. Again, we're still coming up with things that were not handled. And bills that are coming in that we did not know about. So that was not, budget was not accurate budget. We want you to understand that. And we want, again, some of the questions that were asked, we again asked the previous council member who was there. You can answer yourself all the questions, but we got the answers for you. Thank you. Go ahead, John.
I guess we'll start with Mr. Hefner's comments. Do you have any specific ones that you would like me to address?
There was a bunch of them that I was looking for you guys just to consider the numbers, because what I did was, as Bernice was saying, you have bills coming in November, December that you're not familiar with. And what I did with your help, you gave me the numbers for 23 and 24 by month of the expenses. And on the 24 we only had basically a couple of days in November. So what I did was assume November and December was zero. So then I could look at 23 to see what bills show up on the November, December, part of October. So then what I did was I created a actual expense for 24, and then I compared the 25 budget with the 24 budget and where I think the expenses were.
But can I interrupt you, Mr. Hefner? That is not your job. You're not on council. You're not a part of finance
But I
committee.
am a
We
taxpayer.
understand, we like your, supporting your questions, but again, you have to understand, that is not your job. That's one of the problems.
Well,
And I think that's one of
honestly
the
think
problems
it's
that
part
are
of my
here
job
to
as a
everything.
Well, we
taxpayer.
do know that you, like you
The
mentioned,
questions, we have
Yeah.
them, but I'm saying, preparing the budget is not your job.
It's not my job, but I want to know if the
And
25 budget made sense.
and we understand that,
That is why
and
I
like
have
you,
all these questions.
correct, and like you
Yes,
mentioned at the sanitation committee meeting, you did mention that you worked very closely with Mr. Boylan in the past.
In the past,
We-
but this year. I
In the
have-
past,
If you
but
read the
that
thing
can't
on my
be.
Email, it says that I really don't know what is going on with the budget
can-
for this year.
he can be
because
very
kept
privy to
out of
that.
the loop.
information,
And.
As a
Michelle?
taxpayer, he has a
I
right to
just
do
want to
certain
see
things.
where we
Certain
are,
things,
certain things.
because I am a businessman.
not everything.
And if he
Councilwoman
files for a right,
I just
a
feel
right
this
to
is-
know.
Yes, he can.
right to
Yes, he
that.
can, absolutely he can, but you have a lot of questions that give a lot of detail, right? So with that, it's like you're very much, you were involved. You were involved in but you made it very clear because the questions that we asked and you were offended, because like you said, we asked you had to sit in the audience. You made it very clear that you worked closely with Mr. Boylan in the past with the budget. We can't have that.
Nobody.
Well, we never said that though. You keep saying that and we never said that to you. I mean, we're playing by the book here. We're not the council of the past.
I know you're not the council of the past, I just care about the borough. and
So do we,
taxpayers.
which is why we're doing
That's
this
why
the
I did
correct way.
A number for you guys to look at, to go, did I miss this, or I missed that? Whether you use it, I don't care. Whether
Okay,
you
so
use it,
Jonathan's gonna
I'm
answer all
trying-
your questions. You sent a very detailed email with a lot of questions.
Exactly.
So
Well,
he's
these are
gonna give you the
questions for
answers,
you
okay?
And to look at, to see if you made a mistake.
He's
or
gonna
if
give
are
you the
high or
answers.
low.
He's gonna give you the answers, but we just need to reiterate everybody's
If you
place.
don't need the
when it
answers,
comes
this was
to the
to
budget.
support Your decision to help you guys,
Okay.
if you take my advice.
Okay,
If
you don't need the answers? You don't want the,
I
okay,
don't need the
you
answers.
can move on to Mr. Boylan then. We're not,
Mr. Boylan, were there any specific questions of your list that you
Well,
would like me to
Look, I
address?
just want to make one comment.
go to them all, please.
Yeah, because somebody.
Well, we
else
could
might
go
have-
through them all.
No, but I mean, if there was,
Just one-
we could start with the specific one.
I don't understand how, when we reviewed in previous years, every single account, item by item, versus how the new council is handling it, how your way is more transparent than my way. I don't understand that at all. Secondly, what really piqued my interest most was the sewer and revenue. Because what we have billed the residents in the past is the amount that we pay B&L as a contractor, plus the tipping fees, plus the licenses. Your revenue number only reflects the collection from B&L, which means that 80-some thousand dollars is being passed through as a tax, as a real estate tax, rather than a rubbish tax. Do you understand that? Because I don't understand that logic.
Well, I'm sure
You
you're
turned off
trying
your
to
mic, you
direct
turned
me
off your mic.
to me, and I will not respond to you, because I'm not ignorant. Thank you, Mr. Boland.
But you
I'm
can,
gonna say, Jonathan,
Let him.
continue your report, and then we'll have Jack talk about what we're doing.
But I just want to be on record as objecting to you having sat through every single budget.
As I
meeting last
said,
year.
Mr. Boland, we're stopping you at this point, so Jonathan can respond. Thank
She
you.
will. She will.
cause she's not qualified, right?
No, it's just.
No, cause she has no idea what she's doing, right? Okay, go ahead, Jonathan. Michelle, we don't need you against us, thanks.
The preliminary budget and the trash and sewer rates have not been struck yet, as far as I'm aware, that still needs to be done, so that the budget can be
That's an $80,000
adopted.
adjustment.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, it would be adjusted through
Right.
the trash and sewer rates that have not been struck yet.
Yeah, that's fine.
I would just go through his questions.
Yeah, just go through everything we said, don't ask them.
Do that. It says 20 for real estate taxes, current year 2025 budget is $50,000 less than 2024. This indicates that either the borough has lost $7 million in appraised property values or council is planning a tax cut. Both seem unlikely to me. So the response to that, I would say, is this is how the property tax revenues were estimated for 25. We obtained the most recent available 2024.
Can you put your mic up a little bit
I'm
closer? You're just a
sorry.
little tall and.
The most recent 2024 tax rolls in the Delaware County Treasurer's Office multiplied it by a 7.4 millage rate, as it was assumed there was no millage rate increase for 2025. And then because you can't really expect to collect the entire levy in the current year, but between the delinquents received from the Delinquent Tax Bureau as well as the current taxes received by a tax collector, it usually comes in pretty close to what the levy would be. So if you took what the total levy would be and maybe reduced it by like a reasonable factor such as the total collection percentage for 2023, to apply that, you would get your whole collections for 2025, presumably a reasonable estimate, and then used historical data to allocate between current and delinquent collections. So it's coming up with what your expected total collections would be, which should be close to the levy, and then allocating it between the two delinquent and the current year assessments. And there actually was a decrease in the assessments for 2025. That information just came
Was
out.
it substantial? It was 219 million and some change.
I don't have the number right, but it did decrease. But that was the first question. Then the second one was just discussed. It had to do with the trash fees and the $80,000 difference in revenue. So I'm assuming that shortfall will be made up when the trash rate is struck for 2025. Liquid fuels, this revenue should be 100% offset by 430.372 since it can only be used for road repair and maintenance. I figured this was just a semantics and hair splitting because the whole thing was to 439,610 street construction, which sounds pretty synonymous with street repairs and maintenance. So I mean, we could easily just move it to the other line to make up for that, but the whole thing was budgeted for liquid fuels, road repair and maintenance purposes.
Okay, I believe
Next
the
one.
budget amount is $6,000, but the revenue amount is less, it's a different number. That's what generated my question.
They both are the same amount, 70,646 under revenues and expenses.
No, just the liquid fuels money is 3,375. So again, I don't want to buy down this entire meeting with us.
Oh, are you talking about the in the general fund, the county liquid fuel funds? Okay, I see. Sorry, I was only looking at the liquid fuel, the state highway fund itself.
Yeah, we don't have those. We don't, the only thing on the website is the general fund.
Oh, I see. Okay, so I was not aware of that.
What happened?
So the liquid fuel money
Yeah.
received from the state every year, that is in the liquid fuel fund, and the entire amount is offset by,
Should be.
as it should be.
Right.
So. Police car and loan interests, I didn't, despite my attempts to obtain or find in the borough offices as well as the try to obtain them from Citadel, I don't have copies of the amortization schedules for these loans, so I did the best to estimate what the payments would be for 25 based on the most recent bills in 2024, but we're working to get the actual debt service schedules for those loans to make sure the proper amounts are budgeted in the proper categories. For salaries administration, 2025 amount doubled from 2024 original proposed. If this is correct, what benefits have accrued to the residents as a result? This line is based on the earnings of 3 employees, the borough secretary, the borough manager, and administrative assistant. It's based on their 2024 pay rates. There's no increase expected in their rate of pay for 2025. And for the non-salaried employees, it's based on their estimated hours. I can't provide comment as to any benefit that's derived from it. I'm assuming that's something that the council should be concerned about.
Mhm.
If they want to now or.
We will, we will.
Okay.
Treasurer's salary, this is set at 3,300 per ordinance. No expense accrual provided for 2025. 5195 spent for 2024 to date needs correction. So I was not aware of this in the ordinance, but if one needs to be done or corrected, I'm assuming that would be addressed to the solicitor.
Yeah, you also have to, you'll have to break out anything that's not the treasurer's salary.
There was not an ordinance. We were looking for the ordinance. There's no such ordinance as of now.
Yes, but
Again, as we want to inform everyone, there has been documentation that is not been able to be found in that borough office, in management. Things were not done appropriately or due diligence, and that's what we're doing in setting things in place. So that was not been found. We did not see the ordinance, but we will follow up again.
That
Thank you.
ordinance- That ordinance is not on our website.
No.
Continue, go ahead.
Interesting.
And lastly, parking meters, broken ones cannot be repaired. So every time a car parks at a broken meter equals lost revenue for the borough. This is a budget plan and this needs a budget plan and action. So
Mhm.
I'm not familiar or aware of the parking meter situation in the borough, but that is a valid point. Broken meters cannot collect money, so there is a potential for lost revenue. So that should be addressed.
Yeah, but we are collecting from the meter, so unfortunately, while people may be paying the meter, it is not working, but we are moving forward with replacing the meters. They cannot be repaired. They are old at this point. They cannot be repaired. So we are moving forward with getting something in so that we can continue on with the paid parking down at that business district.
But I don't think there's anything in the budget that reflects that.
And there was not.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Thank you.
You know,
Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
All right, we're moving on. We have also in our packet, the final budget will be voted on December 11th, but we ratified the preliminary budget tonight. We also will be discussing council meeting dates. We have that everybody in their packet has the updated meeting dates for 2025. So you can get them on their calendars, and this will be again posted and advertised. Yes. Okay. Posted and advertised, I'm sorry.
When you advertise the preliminary budget, what is the time frame to have that out there for people, sort of 30 days?
10.
7 days?
10.
10 days?
Mhm.
That all?
Mhm.
But there's way more than 10 days between now and your next meeting.
And then we'll be discussing 2025 holidays. Coming up, also looking at what holidays that the borough is looking at putting down for their employees. What are we removing any, if any of this year? Okay? All right. And that is,
that includes you.
yes,
Alrighty.
thank you, everyone.
I do not have anything to report on this evening for public safety, so we will be moving on to public health, sanitation, and recycling. Counselor Michelle Roberts.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Folks. Okay, on the agenda tonight is the rubbish contract for 2025. And as we are all aware, back in September, we knew that we had to review this and we prepared this for request for a proposal. We did receive 3 bids. And we usually go with the lowest bidder. In regards to the trash, the committee has met. And we're willing to suggest to council that we will go with Creative Waste, which is our contractor that we presently use under B&L. And we're proposing that we will go with a one-day trash pickup from October 1st to May 31st, and then a two-day pickup being June 1st to September 30th. And those days are normally a Monday from the 1st to the May 31st. And normally in the summer, it will become a two-day, a Monday and a Thursday. The bid amount is $200,507. The tipping fees are $90.50. And also, we will no longer be doing recycling. So we will be encouraging the residents to continue to recycle. We have our igloos here at the borough. So that will be the dawning task that we will be proposing to the residents, that you would just continue to recycle, but use the igloos that we have out here at the borough. They're containers.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And also, and the recycling that you picked up in December.
Till December 5th.
Yeah.
All right.
Councilor, Roberts, could you, give me that date again, June 1st through September?
Yes. Tentatively, the one day is from October 1st to May 31st. And then the 2 days starts June 1st to September 30th.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I believe you will not be getting your recycling picked up this week because of the holiday being on Thursday, and they will not come back on Friday. So you'll be holding that another week, extending. Also, I've just been informed they will continue to pick recycling until you said.
The recycling will be picked up after Christmas Day.
Okay. All right.
It'll be picked, Christmas is on a Wednesday, so we picked up on the 26th.
Yeah, so that would be our last recycling.
Sadly,
And yes.
very sadly.
Yeah, well, you got some pay more than you like.
And like I said, reason being that, I mean, the fees, the way it breaks down, I mean, just to do recycling, it would cost us another $93,415.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, I mean, we just want to show, I mean, we appreciate those that do recycle. I mean, I know that I stressed upon for us, it's something great that we can do for the environment. And it's something that as we look into our future, it's a better way of doing things. But right now, I also was worried about what it was going to cost the residents if we were to continue to incur with recycling. I know we went from 270 something in 2023 to 2024 to 305, and we would go up to 400 something if we went into 2025. So that's why we're going back to our one day with the 2 day pickup beginning in the summer months. Yeah. And also tentatively, we will be meeting here with the Delaware County Solid Waste appointee, Leslie Cowitter, December the 9th to go over the 904 grant. So we're meeting her here at the borough at 3:30 in that afternoon to continue to get to prepare the grant so that we get some funding from recycling.
That's all you
That
got for us?
in my report,
Ms.
like I
Jones?
said, that's my recommendation.
Thank you.
Thank you. How did Mr. Stubbs feel about it?
Oh, Mr. Stubbs was for going with what we picked the one day.
Well, one day is one day, but you're talking about a
But it's a one day, right, plus the summer.
Yeah. Well, I'm not for the summer, but that's, but it's fine.
Moving on to law and ordinance. I do not see anything outlined for tonight's meeting.
I don't have anything on for tonight, but I would like to say that we'd like to meet at the very beginning of January, which we'll have to discuss a date. But I was talking to the chief about and Carl about a couple of things, and we'd like to meet at the very beginning of January. I think that December is probably a little too busy to try to get together. If we could, that'd be nice, but it's just, there's a lot going on for everyone. And since the chief isn't here tonight, then we can't go any further with that conversation, and that's all I have.
One of the things, we have discussed in our executive meetings and previous, we're asking again, we have our borough manager in place, that, calls not be given or forwarded to our lawyer or counselor right now. Because what's happening is we have other calls that's going in, and our manager has a set agenda, and he deals with several issues when he's talking to our lawyer. So each council member has no reason to call them individually. We've asked this before, so we're asking it again. If you have a question, please go to your borough manager, each council person. The question that was asked recently, because we love our counselor, but he charges us. Every time he gets a call, an email, and it adds up. Nonsense calls don't need to be done like you're trying to tell on this present council. All you had to do for that question was go to the manager. It was already taken care of. We knew what was happening. So that's what, utilize what he's there for. So we're asking you again, Councilor Miller, stop the calls. They're not necessary. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to community and economic development. Councilor Doug Egar, I don't see anything listed today, but did you have anything?
No, nothing on my agenda tonight. Thank you.
Okay. All right, and last, we have Parks and Recreation. So, our borough manager has went ahead and ordered mulch, for our playground outside here at the borough. It's been needed, we've needed it, so that is one of the things he did jump on immediately, to get done, just, you know, for the safety, and it should have been done a little while ago. And also the wear mats are being ordered, as well. And that's it for Parks and Rec. Mayor, did you have a report for tonight?
So as we had, and we still, congratulations for all of you standing, because I don't know if I would stand that long. I want to be able, from what we heard earlier tonight, I would like to be able to have some version of a meeting next week,
Absolutely.
where we sit. I am available. I am sure.
I already reached out to Don, so.
No, and that's perfect because
Yeah. And
we do
everybody
see
really like-
how much, like, you guys spend as much time fundraising as you do fighting fires. And honestly, that's a little ridiculous. I mean that in the best of sense. But if you're making that amount of time doing that and fighting fires, I have no idea how you're gonna keep your houses clean and your regular paying jobs. And I appreciate that. I do see this, it was a concern, I'll be honest, when I
Yeah,
saw it,
sure.
it was an absolute concern because I understood the intricacies of what you guys put out, and most people don't. So I'm totally asking, pick a day, don't care what day, we need to sit down because I personally want to see you have the funding that you need. I threatened to veto last year, the tax ordinance. I don't want to have to do that this year so that you get what you get. I do think that the point that Don, I believe, made earlier, in the fact that you're fixing a $60,000 to $70,000 capital project that we would have to eat out of your work. And we all know those grants do not come, that you're good luck, because you're gonna have to go to the senator. Well, no, we had him last time. That dries up after a while. You know, you can only ask so many times, and we understand how hard that is to do. So first and foremost, thank you for what you guys are doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do think everyone up here does believe in that. I just think that we all need to be in the room and be able to talk this through, because I don't want to see you guys go without. I feel confident enough to say you guys don't want to go without. So we need to be able to come to whatever agreement it is in order to, and all the communication issues. I mean, like, you know, so whatever day that is, please, 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 let us know. We will sit. I will bring snacks. It will be fun. And we'll get it done because I want to be able to see a budget that comes to vote that includes that, what is it, 17,000, I think, difference, whatever it is. 15,000, yeah. I didn't math it, clearly not the finance person. So again, and thank you for getting that grant. I mean, that's not easy work. It sounds, I think when we talk about it, that it's easy, you just call up the state rep and you go, hey, can you give me, I let that know. So again, thank you for that. Thank you for the fundraising that you were doing. Thank you for putting out the finance.
And you need it, and you do, you need it, and we are totally on board with you guys, like, we're not like sitting on two different sides. But we definitely will need to come together and figure it out, because it's imperative to the money, like, I mean, it's just something that we really just need to do. And I do appreciate you guys showing up, because we do understand where you're coming from. And you show it every time.
I would just like to see the fundraising on the 7th of December, we're having breakfast with Santa. Expect to see every single person in this room present over there, and if for whatever reason you're not attend, you can certainly donate.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
I
go. I like
sponsor a family or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So again, thank you guys. Like I said, the fundraising and all of that, it's crazy. I fully get it. And you guys work so hard. So thank you. Other than that, everyone enjoy what version of Thursday you might be having. I just call it Gobble Feed Wobble Day. So that ends my report. So we'll get it all together.
Thank you.
Make it work.
If I can just interject, if I could, and on behalf of the fire company, we do value you, we do appreciate you. And maybe we don't show up at every event, but I know from my aspect, I think highly of you. I can't speak for everybody else. And once again, you do this because you volunteer. When we see it day in and day out, we hear it. When your sirens go off, believe me, I'm praying that you guys are safe, that you get to your destination safely. And as I sit here, I look out in the audience. Every day in the paper anymore, we're reading about how fire departments don't have volunteers. They're being dismantled. Once again, as I sit here, I just see 3 people that come from the high school, 3 young people. And it's touching to me to know that the older ones, you're here, you're training them, you're mentoring, but you now have 3 younger people. I see the young lady, she's from the high school. I see Asale, I see Tyler. And I know, once again, it's endearing what you do. We do value you. We do appreciate you. Don't ever think that we do not see you. And I want you to know we very much care about what you do. And we thank you for your dedication, for your service, even to the 2 ladies that I always see walking back and forth. I always make sure I see them and speak to them, because you do make a difference and we do appreciate you.
It was the Delaware County Times. I don't know who read it today. Delco Times is an article with Upper Darby and their fire company where they are now. And it was surprising to me. I promised to make this quick. It was surprising to me to see that they are struggling with their volunteers in shifts. And now briefly, what they're looking at is turning it over to a full paid department. But what is crazy to me, and this is all you guys, they struggle to fill those shifts. And I don't see that with you guys, right? Like, I mean, I understand you struggle, yes, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I looked at that and went, well, my fire, sorry for anyone reporting, my fire company, but it does touch upon the point that volunteer firefighters are hard to come by. And keeping you is what we want. So we'll meet it has to be next week. And we'll make this work.
Yeah, we'll get it together. We'll get it together by tomorrow before we all go get
Before the Gobble
started.
to you wobble day.
And you all know that I know every time you leave out of that fire station, even dead in my sleep,
She makes marks. Marks on.
I'm like, And then we follow through on Delco dispatch, so we are fully engaged. You know, and then when you come back, you guys come back slowly, I'm like, they're good, you guys beep at me, like,
And
we
don't
are
ever wanna have to
truly,
see another
we definitely wanna show up for you guys, so just know we're gonna meet, we'll put it in the books, and we'll get going on what we need to do appropriately and responsibly for everybody, and more importantly, the borough and the residents. So thank you again for coming out.
And someone tell Gamal that too, because I know he was in the audience, and I think that that would be beneficial to have the mayor from Rutledge here as well, so that we can figure out how any of this works. So, thank you, Alex. Yes, please do.
I'll sit down with Don tonight.
Yep.
Great.
Sit down with the president.
That's
Thank you,
recorded,
thank
just so
you.
know. If you can find the press.
All right, so we're gonna move on to our action items. We just have the one, do I have a motion to ratify an advertisement of the preliminary 2025 budget?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I didn't hear anybody.
I didn't hear. I
I
only hear
heard
like
me.
two. Should we do it again
Aye,
for
yes.
the sake? Okay.
Yes.
Do I have a motion to ratify an advertisement of preliminary 2025 budget? All in favor?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
No second. Oh, she said that. Okay.
But you're whispering, but all right.
She didn't turn.
Any opposed? All right,
I
great.
just have a question. With that being ratified tonight, does that change with us
With
down
them.
next week?
No,
No,
it- literally all this is so that it's advertised and like they mentioned earlier, most of them, or most people have only seen a portion of it. This allows it to be advertised and you see all of the details. So this is not a vote that it's set in stone. This is just a vote that everybody gets to see it.
Okay, that's my
Yep.
question.
The
Yep.
Borough Code just has a complicated procedure, and they have to advertise the preliminary budget now so that they can pass a final budget in December. They can't change the budget for the next 10 days, so that people can come in and view it and.
But
and-
changes can be made.
But after 10 days, they can make changes and they'll theoretically approve the final budget of the December 11th.
Where is it advertised?
Daily Times, everyone's.
Okay.
And we have it in the next room too.
We'll do that on the website and then post it.
Okay.
We're.
Yep.
We're at public discussion in just a second.
Just take a look at your agenda, for your upcoming meetings and events. I do know, there was a proposed form, not a form, but a paper with our meetings for 2025 as well. So that'll be added as well into the website. We're gonna move on to open discussion. Mr. Lee, you are up first. Hello.
Good evening, Michael Lee, 123 West Sylvan Avenue, Morton, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, United States of America. First, for the last two weeks, perhaps up to a month, there's been two telephone poles laying on Yale Avenue, right across the street from the Delaware County Intermediate Unit. Does anyone on the council know what that's about, and if or when these poles are going to be installed or removed? And my second comment is more in regards to the public safety than anything else. First, children should not be on the street after dark without adult supervision. Sometimes I think they, even with adult supervision, they should not be out on the streets. And if they are, please wear fluorescent clothing. Tonight, I saw, when I was walking here, I seen a couple of children riding their bicycles in the middle of the street. They couldn't be seen. Skateboarding couldn't be seen. That's an accident, or worse, waiting to happen. For crying out loud, use some brains and get fluorescent clothing and instill in your child, and adults too, because I've seen adults do it. Do not ride your bike in the middle of the street. You're not invincible. Nobody is. So there was an ancient Greek saying, and I believe it applies to our whole society, not just here in Morton, but throughout the whole country. Whom the gods would destroy, they first make mad. Mad as in insane, not an angry. And As for this date coming up Thanksgiving, with all due respect to the mayor, please find something to be thankful about. Thanksgiving is more than stuffing your stomach and sitting on your gluteus maximus in front of the booth tube watching football games. I'm serious about that. For most people, it's just a day off from work to be away from an environment that that for whatever reason you don't like or just looking to escape from. Find something to be thankful for. That's all I'm saying. So, thank you for listening. Good night. May God bless all of you.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Just for anyone that doesn't know, the police department does have reflective wear or a belt, I believe, something of the sort. I know they posted for those who run and jog. So if there's anyone, give them a call and inquire about it. But I do agree, it's hard to see people walking in the road down these roads. So. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Hefner.
I raised my hand up while you guys were doing a voice vote, because I wasn't sure, because in the last meeting we had, it said a roll call vote. I wasn't sure if it had to be a roll call vote or not.
No, we didn't, Mr. Hefner. We don't need, we haven't done that and we
I
haven't.
was just looking at the last meeting that you had the agenda, that you have a roll call vote on the vote for this, that's all.
Are
I was
you
just
asking
curious.
if we did?
No, it was listed, you did a voice vote, I wasn't sure if that's okay.
Right, it was,
Fine, yeah.
it says roll call at the last agenda.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right here.
I wasn't sure what you were referring to.
Couple other things,
Oh.
with this 10-day waiting period, you're not making changes. After you make changes, will that be available to the public, or that's what you're going to do, vote on and say that's it? Is that how the system works?
Yeah. Generally, they make changes at the meeting and they'll announce them, but it's, yeah. They don't meet in between, so.
So basically, you're saying that, after a 10-day period, you guys make your changes and everything, and then you have a meeting and you vote and that's it.
Yes,
So you don't really have public comment after that,
well, there's public comment, they've taken.
at the meeting probably, and that's
Yes.
it.
Yeah,
Okay. Another question I have is, going forward with the future, borough meetings, will the public be getting the larger packets like, borough manager Stewart created, where you had the expenses and the, other financial information, or is that not going to be included anymore in the future?
Do you want to answer?
I will look into it. Historically, in my tenure, I haven't done that.
Okay, it was a nice thing to say, because, as you guys are saying, you want to be transparent, and that's a good way of being transparent. That's all. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Seal?
Celia Todd, 110 Althea Lane. Thank you for the courtesies that you've extended and the comments that you made on behalf of the fire company tonight. They are heartfelt to me and they're heartfelt to my family as well. What you don't know, and maybe you do know, is that there is a building over there, but that's not the fire company. The fire company are the people that work there and support it and support the community, and that's what's most important. That's the family. I tried to figure out where we could come up with this shortfall, and I came up with a couple things if you'd like to look into them. And I believe that you have an obligation to look for this money. Earlier tonight, Mr. Hefner just asked about the delinquencies for sewer and real estate, and Ms. Dickerson, you indicated that the letters are starting to go out. Please, whatever you do, don't let that lapse in any way. If somebody has 10 days to pay, if they don't pay within 10 days, put a lien on their house. I don't care who it is, just do it. Just do it, because you're not gonna get your money otherwise. And I pay my taxes. Do it for me, because I pay my taxes, okay? There's a telecommunications tower over at Jacobs Park. We all know, we see it. I see it from my bedroom. that owner, the owner of the ground is the borough, and there's a lease. And I understood when their former manager was here, that real estate taxes are in arrears there. So you need to look at that lease, and you need to come up with a bill to the people that the lease is with, and bill for real estate taxes that they're obligated to pay the borough. The other thing that you have to do is you have to look at their rent roll and make sure that the rent that they're paying calculates with the rent that you're getting. If AT&T is now paying $10,000 a month and Verizon's paying $8,000 a month, and they show you income at 5,000 and 3,000, you're not getting your money.
Right.
So you need to be careful of that, and you need to check on that, okay? I just have a question too about the budget, Doug, and I'm not picking on you, but why does community fairs have to have $17,500 this year when 5 or 6 events that you planned just fizzled? And where's the money that you put aside for that? Can't you just roll it over?
I think that's a typo.
Typo.
You said 17,000, right?
It says 17,000.
Yeah, that is not
It
correct.
says 17,000.
Yeah, no.
Okay,
No, that's a good one.
No.
but it does, it does actually say
Yeah,
that,
thank you.
so. And I appreciate that we're gonna get some kind of a discount on our sewer because we're not doing that. I just have one comment. In January 2024, this new council moved line items to the 2024 budget that you inherited. That was horrendous. You can do it again. So sit down with your sharpened pencils and do what you have to do to protect the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Joe Boylan.
You know, I was about to say, Doug, what are you about to get into the 17?
Joe Boylan, 23 Althea Lane. I want to pick up where Mrs. Cod left off. Because I am aware that the 2024 budget was reopened by this council in January. I'm aware that we did that because we had to include insurance expenses for 2 of our police staff. But I'm also aware that there were 20% raises given to admin and maintenance staff at the early part of January. And then the budget was approved and closed. So to my knowledge, crossing guard salaries were not adjusted or spoken about in that meeting. Consequently, there should have been a raise to $18 on September 1st of this year as planned and as reviewed during the budget meetings. I've written about this to council president and council vice president, having still not received a response. So I would like to know tonight, will those raises be installed? And if not, you should explain to our 4 crossing guards why that's the case. As a result of those changes and changes during the year, our admin salaries are now double what they used to be, as are our maintenance salaries. So to the extent that we don't have other monies in the budget to cover other expenses, I believe this is the reason why. A year ago, Mr. Stewart, the former borough manager, said in a public budget meeting that the single maintenance person that we had on staff at that time, he estimated that that person worked 25 hours a week and not 35. And yet sometime in the early part of this year, before you had any real experience, there was a need identified to hire a second person, but it was not spelled out what that person would do. So I'm requesting tonight some sort of a report for residents about what our maintenance people do from October of any given year to March of the following year. How do they spend their time? Because if one person was only working 25 hours a week, then I'm not sure what 2 people are going to do. So maybe it would be helpful for the residents to understand the benefits that they're receiving by having a second person, but by effectively doubling the salaries across all workers for this borough. I would also like to ask the counselor or the solicitor, is it possible to have a prerequisite that for somebody to actually become a candidate for a borough office, that they have to be 100% current with their, any fees that they happen to owe to the borough? Is that something that the borough can stipulate?
The prerequisites are set by the borough code. It's a year as a resident. So.
Okay. So I won't go into this to any great detail because I hear my time is up. But I stand by my comment that this council and this budget process was far less transparent than my process used to be. And I would say to Mrs. Dickerson, if you're saying now that my process was not transparent, why didn't you say it then?
I had a question. You had mentioned a prerequisite for somebody not paying the.
Yeah,
You
in
didn't
other
want
words,
to
you
go
can't
back.
be a candidate for office if you have outstanding bills for the borough.
How would you know that? No, I'm just asking, like, how would you
Because
today, how would you know? No, today, how would you know that?
Because I did the research for Portnoy for 2023. And I got a full list of all the delinquent accounts. I calculated for 50 residents what the collectible will be with the 9% compounded interest, which I don't believe the office still can do to this day. And I know the list of all the residents.
I was just trying to understand your question. So basically you're saying out of the new council members, what people aren't up to date. That's what you're.
Anybody.
Well, no, because everybody is only 3 of us, so listen, if you're gonna come correct. You don't have to sugarcoat it. You don't do it in the email. And I did respond to your email. I respond after you said that we were doing a terrible job and we were way over our head because you seem to get up here. You never tell people what you really say.
Did you answer my question?
You know why I didn't answer your question? I think I told you the last time. I don't answer to ignorance and disrespect.
Oh, I see. So the
You're
respect
rude,
only-
you're a
the
rude
respect only
guy.
have to come from this side of the room.
All right, Mr. Boylan, you don't even know us. You just go and you get behind your keyboard and you talk to us as if we're, I guess, I don't know who. But listen, you gotta stop because it's like kind of harassing, you know? You just insult us. You don't actually ask questions.
I will not.
You ask a question after you belittle and berate us. We could put it out there if that's not the issue, but we don't. But then you come here and then you act as if
You told me
you're
to come here
professional.
and bring my energy. So
But
that's
you
what I'm
still
doing.
didn't bring your energy though. You didn't. You never speak on how you actually are behind the keyboard. Are you kidding me?
What are you talking about?
If
No.
anybody wants a copy, we'll make sure you.
Yeah,
get it.
like you
Because
never
it's
want,
up
you
to me.
never want.
And we have to stop, Mr.
We
Bowles.
do.
Let's be an adult. It's time.
Yeah,
to
you
stop.
never once got up there and
It's time to
insulted us
stop.
though.
We're gonna stop this conversation and move on.
Is there an
And
answer
answer
to the
that.
crossing guard question?
No.
It's a
That's
personnel matter.
It is not a personnel matter.
It is.
It is not.
It is. We know it's not for you and Michelle, but it is for us. We're moving on. Thank you.
That's professional and respect right there.
That's the personality.
Why didn't you tell me the first time I asked the question then? Why did you make me ask it 4 times?
Why shouldn't I? Why do you think you can come to me as if I'm like trash on the street? You don't know me. You act as if you're coming like this polite human beings. Because now I'm gonna talk to you like a human being, not a council member. Okay? I owe the residents everything. I do, and that's why I'm here. But you're not going to continue to sit at your desk and talk to me like the trash you put in your garbage can. Or her. You don't do it to Mr. Igor. You don't do it to Michelle Roberts. You surely don't do it to Michelle Miller, the solicitor, or the mayor. But since we were sworn in, you don't know us. You don't know us.
I don't need to know you.
So have a good night. Moving on.
Move on.
Yeah, you just showed everybody exactly who you were. We are human beings.
We
though.
thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Thank you for not answering the question. again.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
Sally, by all means,
I can't handle all the transparency.
I know. We couldn't either. The year before that and the year before that, we couldn't either.
Absolutely.
You saw every single number.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Go ahead, Sal, you can go on.
Sally.
Sally and Liddy, and I live
Uh-huh.
at 211 West Sylvan.
Yeah, go to bed.
This is Mom. Just so you know, Michael's anniversary, death anniversary, December
Yeah,
3rd.
God bless him.
5
Yeah.
years.
Sorry.
My question was a clarification, and I'm not sure. You said if we find the money, then we'll add it back in. Does that mean, like, how does that work?
logistically, like if it's not there, you're not like, do you know what I mean? There's no is there a legal thing that says because you said if we find the money, it's gonna be added, like, it has to be there, right? In the budget?
Money
or-
has to be, the budget, the 10 days has to go through. You have to
Right.
have that comment period and continue on. The 11th that will.
But you
vote on
earlier
it.
had
But we're
said
saying that.
You wanted
we're
to put
looking
the
for-
money back in.
If we're able to come up with the
Yeah,
money
but
somewhere.
how does that work? Because you could very easily say, oh, we couldn't come up with it, like,
Yeah, no, we'll sit down, the council meets again, and we'll sit down, and what's happened is the finance committee's go, look, all right, our revenues are up under, say, sewer. Let's just put that out there, so we're able to go back and say, okay, we got money coming in now. With the delinquent funds and everything, we can add that
So there's a lot of
capital
layers.
thing.
So we
there's
really
things
just gotta
to
come
play with.
together, really, honestly. That's
Right.
really the end
Yeah.
game.
but the budget that you put out in December, if it's not in there, what are the odds that you're really gonna put it back in there? That's the question. I'm asking.
It's tentative right now.
We
It's
have to
not,
wait and
we
see.
are
We
not
can't-
at the
No, but
end.
when you vote on the budget, and when did you say you're voting on it in December?
December.
Yes.
If that extra money is not added back in December, what are the odds that you're gonna come up and you're gonna
December's
say,
when it'll happen. December's when the decision will be made.
right, so if it's not added back in December, you're not adding it back in, probably. But she had said something about if we find the extra money, we'll put it back in. Will you know if you have that extra money by your December vote? You'll know if you have that
Yes,
extra
the
money?
council, if revenues come in higher, than expected during the course of 2025,
Okay,
or if, you know, there's categories in the budget which are coming in lower, council is able to
okay.
Move
I just
money
wanna
around.
make sure that
later.
it's not like something that you're promising, but then it doesn't get in and then you're like, oh, we'll give it to you later, but
It's not
when
just
it's later
word,
gonna
it's not
happen.
word.
No, we're not
Okay.
we need to come together. We're not
Okay.
shooting any
Yeah,
promises
because
or,
it's not like Melissa is so involved with the fallen firefighters
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
all of that and trying to keep, and her friends do, to keep cancer away from these firefighters and to do all this. Like, they deserve to have every single penny and then some.
We agree, but I
We
don't want
agree,
you
yeah.
to think, again, that if it doesn't happen, that we didn't do all our due diligence trying to
No,
find.
but I just,
But we
because she
can't
said,
remove-
well, I'm gonna try to find the money, and I just wanted
Yeah.
to make sure that. you-
And like Ms. Todd came up with some suggestions too, that will add to the bit. Yeah.
is that everybody?
It's everybody.
All right. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Have a good night and
Good night, happy Thanksgiving.
Our document.